Hey everybody, I thought I would share with you today my May 2016 Midori notebook. I'm not quite as far behind as I've been running lately, so this is just like, the second week of June, so I feel pretty good about that. On the front, I did include the Cocoa Daisy sticker for the month, as well as this beautiful washi tape that they included. I really enjoyed this washi tape and this whole color scheme for this month. On the first day on the calendar, you know I don't do a whole lot, but I did mark the last day of school and also the last day that Louder Dog was with us. This particular month is more like a traditional scrapbook Midori in that I've used a lot of photos and I've also done just some writings. They're almost like mini layouts. I have had a tendency to do this currently list every month, and I really miss it when I don't. So I have the list of what I'm watching and making and feeling and loving, etc., etc. And then also over here on the right, I have some photos of those things that I mention on the list. I have been loving my new printer that I got a few months ago because it made it super easy for me to do a collage of these photos from my phone and then wirelessly print them. That was totally awesome, and I can see where that makes my whole process a little bit simpler. You can see here I have a tab that I've included, and the next page is about planning for the coming months. I had all of these plans to get together with Tracy and work on the podcast and all these things, but I have to be honest that life didn't go according to plan this past month, and so a lot of these things didn't work out the way that I had wanted them to. I also have this desire. I look at all these pretty planner things on Etsy and I want to buy it all, even though I don't really use my Midori in a traditional planner way. So it's like this constant battle for me between what I want to buy and realistically what I'm actually going to use. Surely none of you all are like that. I must be the only one, right? If you've been watching my Midori videos, you know that I like to do quotes every month. And these are several quotes from things that I read online, but also some quotes from some of my dear friends. If you are not familiar with the Brain Pickings blog, that's a blog where I find a lot of inspiration for quotes, and it's something that I originally found on Blog Lovin', but it's something I would recommend to you if you like to read little snippets of book reviews and if you're looking for a place to find some amazing quotes. I'm trying to finish up this old sticker set that I've been using for a few months now with the word quotes at the top, and then I used a little bit more of that washi tape. So really simple designs here. I'm not doing anything particularly fancy, but I'm still really happy with it. Here is another page that is more like a layout. The fella and I spent a weekend with my best friends. We came up one night for dinner and cocktails. We stayed up late talking. We loved on their dogs. We were able to spend the night in their antique rope bed, which is so crazy. We both kept like rolling towards the middle of the bed. And then the next morning, her husband, who is an amazing cook, made us homemade strawberry pancakes with homemade syrup, of course. It was beautiful weather for the drive home. It was a nice little respite from real life, and it came right after, some hard times for me, so I really appreciated that. I used some just little snippets of pattern paper I had out on my desk from other projects, as well as some of these. They're sort of puffy stickers. They're a little bit rubbery feeling, I guess, and some washi tape. I did a big grocery list one week. I don't cook a whole lot, but sometimes I get a wild hair and I decide that I want to cook, crazy things I've never cooked before, or I want to cook every single night or whatever. So I did a big grocery run the last week of May, and I had all these things that I purchased and made. I have a layout here of a painting class that my friend Lori and I attended. It was actually a free oil painting class at a nearby library. So, you know, free, painting, and library, those are some of my favorite words. And the guy who taught it was very interesting and very talented. Interestingly enough, he only had one hand. He had lost a hand somehow earlier in his life. So that made his whole painting even more impressive, you know, in my opinion. But here are a couple of photos of the process as I worked on my painting. And then here I am with my painting and the two of us posing with ours. I just wrote a little bit blurb about it. This is something I will probably do a full-size layout about at some point. So I just wanted to jot down enough details that I could always come back and refer to this if I needed to when I made my big page. On Memorial Day, we spent some time at Beach Bend Park, which is a local amusement park and water park. And so again, I did this collage of photos over here on the left with my phone and my printer. I did a couple of different washi tapes at the bottom. Over here, I included some of that same pattern paper that I'd had out on my desk and some strips that just happened to match so perfectly that I picked up at the Studio Calico warehouse sale in late April. So it was kind of fun to be able to take all of these different patterns and colors and manufacturer products and make them work. But I'm really happy with the way this turned out. It looks like a summertime scene to me, which is what I was going for. Here's a layout that I made about Louder Dog. This is from earlier in the spring when he was feeling better and, you know, before everything happened with him. Here is a little layout that I made about work because there's so many changes going on at work right now. One of the big changes is that I'm moving classrooms, and so my daughter spent a day with me right after school ended to help me empty out my old classroom and put all of my belongings in my new classroom. So I made my little list of work goals and then included this collage. It doesn't seem like a big thing, I guess, to a lot of people, but I've been in that classroom for 22 years. And so you can imagine not only the vast amount of things that I have collected, but also that it was a little bit emotional, you know, to leave that space and move to the new one. But this new classroom has windows, so it's totally worth it. To kind of continue the whole work theme, I have a spread here about my best friend Vonda, who retired at the end of this last year. That's why I'm moving classrooms. I'm moving into her classroom. We had taught together side by side for 22 years, been best friends for, I don't know, 21 and a half of those. And we took some photos on the last day of school with students, and then I also had a photo of her from the last time that she spoke to the faculty. You know, it's one of those things where I'm happy for her, but it sort of sucks for me. So I'm really interested to see how next year goes. It's definitely going to be an adjustment process for me, I'm sure. And I included a little tab here because I thought that drew attention nicely to my favorite photo of this grouping. These next pages are my calendar pages. You can see some days are really busy, some days are not so busy. A lot of it has to do with work or with the podcast and that sort of thing. You know, there are things that get canceled, there are things that get moved around. You see big X's on stuff. That's just life, and I try not to get super upset about that. You know, this is an actual working calendar for me, and so I'm not going to write in pencil and pretend that everything is perfect and erase and white out and cover things up. Life is just too short for that for me. I'm just gonna, you know, keep it real. This last page here is a tribute to my boy. Still can't talk about it. And then finally, I did one last spread on the last couple of pages. I told you I had decided that I wanted to try to do a selfie spread every month. So this is my selfie spread. This is a photo that I took of myself that I really liked. I trimmed it out with the washi tape, and I have a little gold arrow. I repeat the gold arrow and a gold heart. And then, you know, I have some affirmations over here on the right. It's hard sometimes to say nice things about yourself, but I'm working on it. So maybe these little notebook pages will remind me to do that more often. And then of course there's the closing page from Cocoa Daisy. I did continue the washi tape on the back just because I think that that lends to the cohesive look of the entire project. So there you have it. You can see my May 2016 Midori notebook. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave me some love if you did. I'll be out of the country for a few weeks, so any videos that I do will likely be of traveling around in Europe. But if you like that sort of thing, I hope you'll check out those videos as they pop up. And I'll be back with some more Midori videos probably in early August. Until then, go and be crafty.